All right, thanks, Timmy. Appreciate it. Christina, you can get started whenever you want.
Okay, cool. All right, sounds good. And you guys are recording, so you can send to everyone, right?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, sounds good. Okay. Guys, please post in the chat if you have any questions at all. So I know that you wanted a mastermind around REO. I personally am going to cover that and a few other things. So not sure exactly where your experience level lies. So if there's something in particular you want me to cover, please put it in the chat. So I'm going to go through some content. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, and then I'm going to open it up for questions. So again, please make sure to post any questions so I cover them. And I'm going to, okay, just looking at time. All right. Okay. So my name is Christina Griffin. I am a MAPS coach. I'm a team leader. I have 41 agents, a MAO, and we are in 7 different Keller Williams offices in the middle Tampa area. So I'm going to show you a map. The reason why I'm going to share just a little bit about who I am is I believe it's important to know about who's educating you and to be able to know where someone has where they have gone and where they are now, to just see what the journey looks like. I'm only going to spend a few minutes on my personal story. If you want me to come back at a later time, I will share more. If you'd like to watch more of it, I have been interviewed by Gary Keller on stage, and you can check it out on KW Connect. So I'm a survivor of abuse, survivor of cancer and divorce. My mother died when I was 9 years old of cancer. My dad died when I was 18 in a boating accident. My sister died when I was 27 in a drunk driving accident, all 9 years apart. I joined KW 3 years ago. And when I joined KW, I had just beat cancer and I got gastric sleeve surgery, and I'm down 200 pounds since I joined KW 3 years ago. I've lost everything. I've rebuilt. Why am I telling you these things? Because the distress industry, it's always been a huge attraction to me because I do come from a servant's heart. I really want to help people. There are so many different levels of the distress industry, and we're focusing more on REO today, but I do teach in the upcoming course quite a bit of it. I learned the REO industry because when my mom died, and then my dad when I was 18, I got immediately into real estate at 18 years old, started working for a small company, and he was a local real estate investor in Tampa. So I sold all of his properties he renovated, and I got really great at finding properties for him. And the more properties I found for him, he couldn't buy all of them. So I would put investors on buses, take them to REO and bank-owned properties, and have contractors there and walk around the property with them and explain to them how they can renovate the property, had everyone there, that team that they needed. And I did this at 21 years old. So at that time frame, I became an expert or the person that everyone came to sell their investment properties or to be able to buy investment properties. Why I tell you that is I sold so many, then the crash happened, and everyone says it's the last downturn of the market. And the companies and the hard money and subprime lenders that I sold properties through, they started asking me, can you sell the property now that we took it back as an REO? So that's when I started doing bank-owned foreclosures and short sales, was around 2003 to 2004, when they weren't quite cool yet, and grew into that. I personally have lost everything. I've rebuilt. I am extremely happily married, crazy in love. My husband and I met in 2004. He was my personal trainer. I am a mom of 3 awesome kids. My faith has gotten stronger during COVID. We have really took this time to get real, to get right, and get close as a family. Personally, have sold over 4,000 homes and several thousand distressed properties. So what I'm going to teach you and the things I'm going to share with you today and in the course that we have coming are things that I have implemented and done in our business. Our team covers the entire Middle Florida, and I'm a contributor, survivor, and overcomer. This is just a small map, but you can see we love your referrals. The Middle Florida is what we cover, and would love to help you as well as connect with you guys in our referral network. Going to share with you a little bit about our course, and you guys can. I have a great MAPS advisor I'm going to introduce here in a minute that you can reach out to and get more details as well. Our course is 12 one-hour webinars. So that's me teaching you full content for an entire hour. And after the hour, I jump into the Facebook group to answer questions. The Facebook group does not go down. The Facebook group stays. I do demos, I do walkthroughs, I do tons of videos. So the more questions you ask, the more interactive I am. And it's pretty cool because those Facebook groups, they create a really awesome forum. You're going to learn from how to do a short sale, how to differentiate if they're short sales or not, letters to send to notice of default, how to understand forbearance, working with investors on the buy and on the flip side. Also, I'm going to teach you about 40 different ways that you probably don't know or you haven't thought of, like probate and divorce. How to think outside of the box to find other types of properties and listings for yourself or to help create wealth. So we are very highly interactive. I would love you to be able to join. If you join now, our course is March 9th. You're going to get letters and some things that you can immediately do to propel and start learning right away in the Facebook group. Okay, so a little bit about MAPS coaching, and then we're going to get on to the content. So James, since you're on here, can you say hi and let everyone know what you can help? Give the 30-second commercial if you don't mind.
Oh, definitely. Hey, everybody. My name is James Gertis. I'm the business growth advisor that's dedicated to your guys' market center. And what I can help you with is anything MAPS, anything regarding group coaching, one-on-one coaching, any questions you might have about any events or any questions at all, really, because if I don't have the answer, I could probably point you in the right direction.
Awesome. So if they have questions about my course or additional opportunities with MAPS, they could just reach out to you personally.
100%. I'm going to actually put my calendar link into the chat. So if anybody wants to put some time on the calendar to discuss this course after this video, I'd be more than happy to do that with them.
James, you're awesome. Thank you for coming. Okay, guys, let's dive into content. Okay, so again, I've been asked to go REO focus, but I'm going to give you just a little bit of statistics and I'm going to drop it into the chat. So Black Knight is one of the best systems that I've used that gives great analytical data and it's free. So Black Knight is where the mortgage companies, they basically all of their data feeds into this system and you're going to be able to get up-to-date information about what's happening in the mortgage industry. So something I want you to focus on and look at this, that 2020 ends with 1.7 million more seriously delinquent homeowners than at the start of the year. Foreclosures are at a record low. What does that mean? That means that there is a ton of opportunity. The foreclosures have been on hold in most cases, not your state. And I'm going to show you some opportunities. Some of them have been federally backed loans, but not all of them in your state, which is good. You guys are lucky. Well, you guys are lucky you get to see more visibility. Some states, there's no visibility right now, and they have to focus on tax deed sales and people that are delinquent on their taxes. Because normally when someone's delinquent on their taxes, they may be likely to also be delinquent on their mortgage. So there's a lot more visibility. So what I want you to focus on is these bottom numbers: number of properties that are 30 or more days past due, but not in foreclosure, Number of properties that are 90 or more days past due, but not in foreclosure, are 2.146 million. 178,000 in this weird quasi foreclosure realm that hasn't been listed yet. I personally have a ton of them that are in limbo status. They have occupants inside them we're negotiating cash for keys on, and they haven't got listed yet. And then there's 3.429 million number of properties that are 30 or more days past due or in foreclosure. So what does that say? That means that there's going to be a lot of short sale opportunities. There's going to be, when those forbearance agreements become due, and if someone defaults on those forbearance agreements, it really truly is going to show more visibility of those notice of defaults. But what I want you to know is our job should be to get to the homeowners, get to the absentee owners that can't remove their tenant from the property, and be able to help offer solutions. So I teach you all of the solutions on the entire process. REO is one facet towards the end of the process and the fundamentals that you need to learn. So I'm going to, again, we're focusing on REO and what it looks like. Decide what kind of agent you want to be. So, right now is really the time to decide if you want to be the friendly neighborhood agent who appeals to middle-class families, the fast-paced agent who targets younger crowds, the agent who helps people purchase their first home, an investor, flipper agent, luxury, or you really want to embrace as much as you can. And we're going to teach you how to do that, really looking and reimagining what farming looks like. And we dive into that in the course. So based upon your budget on that aspect of the business, you can either start small, you can give yourself room to cultivate a strong presence before expanding, or you can get big. So I'm going to give you letters, I'm going to give you door hangers, I'm going to give you things that you can put in the area you focus on and the clientele you want to focus on that really truly works. I want you to understand now's the time to become a community expert, because people currently in that know, like, and trust you, people that are in your address book, could be in forbearance. They also could be in eviction status right now. So I recommend on every level, right now is the time to do those care calls. I use an app called Hit 'em Up. It's HITEMUP. You can text everybody in your address book, checking in, saying hello. And then after you do that, next week, send them a video text. And in that video text, a simple video text that, hey, I know there's a lot going on in the world right now. If you know anyone in forbearance or in eviction, please have them reach out to me, because I would love to be able to help them with options. And there's a good chance that people that you know are also going through something currently. So I'm gonna just go through again, because we're focusing on REO. But before we get to the REO facet, I'm gonna show you something in your area, and I want your wheels to start spinning. So this is one of my favorite sites. I've sold several hundred through Bank of America and many other large banks. They use this site. So you go to Auction.com, make sure you have a buyer profile and you have a realtor profile, because when you go there, it is a site that it feeds in the analytical data that have open APIs to, like, foreclosure calendars. So you type in your area, you go to asset type, and you click foreclosure homes. These are properties that have a foreclosure sale date. Guys, you have a lot, like a lot, compared to other parts of the country. Now, I want to show you this. You have 1,223 in your state that have foreclosure sale dates. This is not notice of defaults. These are people that have physical sale dates that their house is going up for sale and they're going to potentially lose their home. So I want you to understand, first and foremost, REO is a beautiful thing, but if these properties do not sell at the foreclosure auction, they are going to hit REO status. If I were you, and I'm not sure what your, if you guys have stay-at-home orders or things like that. If you don't have a stay-at-home order, part of our course, I'm going to give you letter options, door hanger options that you can immediately right now go out to these homes, or you can send a letter to each and every one of them. You can write a handwritten note and offer to provide solutions to them. Okay. So that's 191 opportunities and that are going to be going close to where you guys are, that in the next week or so. And it actually goes to about 5 to 6 weeks are going to be losing their home. So you have a lot of foreclosures happening on the 2nd of February. Yes, there may not be time to do a short sale. However, right now the banks, if the owner calls, a lot of times they are extending the foreclosure sale date. I would focus, if you don't have cash buyers that can help offer solutions in less than a week or quickly, I would focus on the ones that are middle of February and later. However, this is what I would do right now in your state to create money and opportunity now. And if they do not turn into a sale or an opportunity for you, they're going to go to REO. Now, you may go to these properties and they may be vacant. That's where having a system that helps, where you can see the do not call. So RedX is one of the systems that I use, and they have an open connection where every day they refresh if that property is on the do not call or not. So one thing I love about this is you can go to the property, and if the property is vacant, a lot of times the bank is going to secure the property. They're going to change the locks. It doesn't necessarily mean that the bank has taken possession. They just have deemed the property to be abandoned. A lot of times there's also going to be a sign in the window that has the bank's contact information. You call them and say, I'd love to find an opportunity. How can I work with you? Or who's the asset management company? I'm going to teach you a ton more of that in my course. However, this is a really great opportunity for you to create opportunity and revenue now. Now, I do want you to understand that a foreclosure is, I use the analogy, it's like a divorce. So I've been through divorce, someone's filing the papers. Same with a notice of default. Someone gets filed the papers, and then you have a whole level of emotion between when they're filed and when the actual sale date happens. It's very similar to a divorce. And that kind of gives you the understanding on when the filing and then the final. Up until the final day that property goes into the foreclosure sale, the owner that is on title has full control to be able to sell that property. Now, there's a whole other realm of potential business for all of us if we learn how to be a community expert. And that's what I'm going to teach you how to do, is because in the first phase, you've got foreclosure sales, but prior to that notice of default being filed, that happens at about 3 months to 4 months on when public record gets notice that they're behind on their mortgage. All of those forbearance agreements, getting them and helping them offer solutions to them right now is so extremely important. You don't have to be behind on your mortgage to do a short sale. Most people don't realize that. So you may have neighbors that are in forbearance that may owe $200,000 on the home, and they haven't paid their payment in 12 months. It could be $2,000 a month that they haven't paid. So that $24,000 gets added to the 200. So that's $224,000. Then you add closing costs, then you add commission. And in many cases, people that bought their home just a few years ago, or maybe they refinanced, pulled out money, that equity is going to be close to being gone, or it could be gone. It's not like 2008. Yes, people's equity spread is different, but the difference between 2008 versus now, people are not paying their mortgage payment. It's being added onto their principal balance. There's no late fees until they default on that forbearance agreement. So I'm going to teach you how to navigate everything in between. But right now, there's so much opportunity, more than likely in your phone, on people that need help and need solutions. Another one is the forbearance agreement, they may not be able to pay those back payments. They may personally be in a situation where they're back to work. You sell their home, you do a sale leaseback to the new buyer, so that mortgage gets paid off, because you can't buy a new house if you're not caught up on your forbearance agreements. That mortgage gets paid off. Give them some time to live in the home or a limbo process, and then you help find them another home. There's so many multiple transactions in REO and distressed real estate, because someone may have a credit issue now. Help them into a rental. They're going to tell everybody how you help them, and then nurture them for long term and put them to be part of your database. Now, that's a lot of info. And again, you can tell I try and pack as much content as I can as possible. I want you to understand, being an REO agent is not, we don't get listings that fall from the sky and we just put them on the MLS. There's a process. And if you want to be an REO agent, I'm going to teach you how to do that. But all the fundamentals you're going to learn, like going to official records, getting HOA payoffs, learning how to evaluate the repairs on a property, I'm going to teach you. So they're going to require local expertise. Big marketing packages aren't a necessity. However, when HUD hires, they want a professional marketing package. A HUD in a government contract is very lucrative when you know and have the background. So we'll go over all of that, but this is just some things that you have to prepare for. Keep it simple, do what they ask. If you're not a person to follow instructions, the same with short sales. That this definitely isn't the side of the business for you, or get a high-level admin that can help you do that. One thing I want you to understand, short sales aren't scary. I've been doing short sales for, since almost 20 years. They now have systems and processes. We have been doing short sales the last 10 years when most people stopped. Short sales are now happening in less than 2 to 3 weeks. They are simplified, and most of the systems.
3 weeks.
Most of the systems that the short sales use are also platforms that the REO companies use. So the more short sales you do, the more you're going to be able to create those potential REO relationships. So provide a solid, well thought out BPO. I'm going to teach you how to do that. We have a whole BPO guide. Do whatever it takes to capture good photos. REO is not, again, like it used to be. We're doing professional photos, we're doing marketing, we're doing aerial, we're doing walkthrough videos. They want their properties, no matter the condition or the price, marketed just like any other listing. Identify the asset manager's mindset, and it can help you build a quick relationship with them. I have asset managers I've worked with for over 10 years, and I've done hundreds of transactions with them. I don't know about you. I love big fish. I'd rather sell somebody 100 homes and have my team service the buyer leads and the other opportunities that come in. So this is just a way to look at things. I'm also going to teach you how to find relationships with investors. There are big relationships where you can learn to find these off-market properties and sell hundreds of opportunities to one investor group. So we learn a lot through this entire course. So during the foreclosure process, a foreclosed property is auctioned off during a trustee sale, or depending on your state, they call it sheriff sale. If the property is not sold, it becomes a bank property or REO. Now, I want you to understand that not every REO is owned by a bank. It could be a hedge fund. It could be an iBuyer bought a pool of non-performing assets. They're going to hire someone to manage those assets. That is the REO phase. It's not always bank owned. You could have a credit union that you work with. Those are easy relationships to get in if you know the right person. So we're going to show you how to reverse look up a lot of things in our course to be able to find who manages those assets. And we do that in the later part of the course. A bank's primary focus when selling REOs to recoup any losses, and once a bank is in possession, their next step is to hire an REO servicer or an asset management company. Guys, again, I want you to understand the opportunity right now. You're going to have a lot in your state that are going to go through foreclosure sale quickly, that limbo process. working with absentee owners to really identify how you can get their tenants out of those properties and get those properties on the market. And I'm going to show you what I mean, how you can do that. And then really learning short sales and forbearance and identifying those difference and becoming a community expert, because short sales are going to lead to REOs, because those loss mitigators, they work in the same departments as the REO asset manager. And when they have a great experience with you, they're going to refer you to an asset manager. This is just a few steps about REO. You're going to conduct an occupancy report. In your state, you'll have to order winterization, assess and complete any necessary maintenance, determine appraised value and BPO, and the lender chooses the listing price after the values come in. So I teach you how to operate within all of that. And again, that's towards the later part, because if you are learning, you're going to need to learn a lot of fundamentals. They're going to want you to be able to do BPOs, evaluate properties, have relationships with investors, and we learn all of that. Now, this is just a little bit, and I'm talking fast because I have a lot of content to go, and I want to make sure we have opportunity to ask questions. So this is just a little bit about recent updates. I want you to understand there are so many updates that are occurring consistently about what's happening with the delays. So February 28th, the moratorium has been extended on single family homes for Fannie and Freddie Mac. FHA extended to March 31st and USDA extended to March 31st. So what does that mean to you? I want you guys to understand that the government-backed loans are not all of the mortgages. Subprime loans, private loans, loans owned that aren't federally backed, those they're starting in a few days in most states, the process. In Florida, we've been every single week, we're getting over 100 notice of defaults. So yes, in a month or two, the switch is going to flip, and it's going to have to, because they can't keep kicking the can forever. But now's the time for you to learn and understand what's happening. Now, I do want you to understand that the Biden administration, they have extended the eviction moratorium till the 31st of March. Now, they may extend it to September, but what does that mean for you? I'm going to show you, there's over that projected, I've heard different numbers, 11 million, 40 million. There's a lot of people that are delinquent on their mortgages right now. So right now, an opportunity for you is to pull the absentee owners that are in state or out of state, reach out to them and show them that you have the ability to offer additional options to them. So cash for keys is something you're going to learn in the distress side of real estate. You're going to use it in 3 different buckets. This opportunity is something you can do now. You have absentee owners that have people that are in their homes that are not paying, that could be behind, or you know what, they just don't want the liability and they don't want to be a landlord anymore. So when you come from a place of, I'm going to offer you a solution that's going to help you convert more opportunity. And that solution is, Mr. Seller, I know that you have 10 rental properties, and there's a good chance that some of your tenants could be delinquent. Are they currently? Yes, half of them. Even Gary Keller says some of his buildings aren't paying. Okay, so there's an option that I can help you with right now. It's called Cash for Keys. You give me the tenant's contact information. I will contact the tenant. I will post a letter. I will let the tenant know that we have options available to them. Not every tenant's going to do this, but most of them will. On the bank-owned side of things, we have a huge success rate. It's called Cash for Keys. You can offer first, last, and security, whatever that particular owner is comfortable with. But if the moratorium gets extended to the end of September, their lost rents and in the property, they're going to be a lot higher than if they are able to sell the property now. Also, this is the best time to sell. 9 months from now, who knows, with all of the forbearances and the visibility happening. So offering cash for keys is an option, and it's going to show that absentee owner that you're going to think outside of the box. It's also less expensive to do that because there's no eviction cost. And cash for keys is you give them cash, they give you the keys, and they remove all of their belongings. They broom swept the property where there's no debris, there's no trash inside the property. So it's also less cleanup. So that's an option that you can prospect for right now. Now, cash for keys is also used in play with short sales, and I teach you how to do that. If the person needs a short sale, and what that means is they owe more on the property than what it's worth, most entities will pay them thousands of dollars in cash for keys to do the short sale. They do not have to be delinquent. We're getting $5,000, $6,000, $4,000. It depends on the price. So when you're prospecting and talking to your clients, I want to save your credit. I want to help you to that next step, that second chance. And there's a potential way that maybe the bank will pay you cash for keys, a few $1,000s to be able to move. And I would love to have that opportunity to see if I can get that for you. So I teach you all of that. Cash for keys is also at the end of the spectrum. We're talking about REO. We have people, as soon as the property, all those 191 I show you, the ones that don't get bought at the foreclosure sale, when you're an REO agent, our job is to make contact with that occupant and then offer them cash to move out of the property, because it's less expensive and less liability, and banks do that, every one of them. So that's just a little hack that can help you in the market right now. So guys, I have a lot, obviously, as you can tell, I can share. I just wanted to give you actionable things that you can walk away in your business right now and implement, and then answer your questions. So let's recoup. You can go to auction.com. You can start contacting those owners that have foreclosure sale dates and reach out to them right away. If you join our course, you're going to get put in the Facebook group right away, and also get all of those letters and how you can start that short sale process prior to me actually teaching it, because I want to give you things that you can actually do in your business right now. You can focus on those absentee owners that need help. There's a lot of lives for us to impact, guys. I'm super passionate about this. We have, from REO is a great way to learn how to work as a buyer's agent and on the listing side, and I'll teach you that. But there's a whole other side of the business that you can create wealth for yourself, for your clients, and you can impact a lot of lives. Now truly is the time to have a servant's heart and open your mind to the possibilities, and I show you all of it. So I'm going to answer your questions. We can open it up for questions, but I really hope you reach out to MAPS and you find out more, because I would love you to be part of what we are teaching, and would love to help you in this next phase. So also, one last thing is the course, up until the very last week, you get it for, I think it's 100 days or 90 days after the very last course drops. So you have plenty of time to go and rewatch everything and apply it in your business. And you're going to have things to do each and every week I'm going to give you to be able to grow your knowledge base. And you're going to walk away and get a ton of listings if you follow it. So I'm going to go through the questions, guys. Please, let me see if thank you. It was a very male dominated field in the beginning, and I definitely am one that still does it. I even got an REO listing yesterday. We're doing short sales, and what I would always recommend, guys, what I'm going to teach you is to always have it as some facet of your business. Don't say, hey, the last downturn I did short sales and REO. It could be, instead of 100 listings, maybe it's 10. However, you grow other levers of your business when things shift, but we're going to be in this for quite a few years, I think. Okay. All right, guys. Yes, so this applies to commercial properties. REO is actually going to be a massive opportunity in commercial. And however, they really like when you have that fundamental. You're going to have to do a BPO. You can start with doing BPOs on commercial properties, but it definitely is a big opportunity, especially with all of the businesses that unfortunately are going out of business. Everything I teach you is going to apply to that side, because there are a lot of smaller banks, and they are the ones that hold those commercial loans, and they're going to need help quite a bit. There's going to be a lot of REO everywhere, but commercial is a big opportunity. So guys, you have me for 15 minutes. Any questions? Do you have your coffee yet? I didn't want to throw too much at you, but okay. Okay.
Hey, Christina.
Yep.
For people that are on this call, or anybody that wants to start doing REOs or get into that sector, what would be your advice, like the first thing they should do?
Well, the first thing that they should do is
Besides hire you.
Well, you're going to have to sign up for all the platforms. So obviously I give you all of those platforms. The thing you can do now is you can start doing BPOs. I did 200 BPOs for Chase 15 years ago before they hired me as their agent. So you can start doing BPOs. And that's something you can absolutely do. You need to take a look at what the inventory is in your area. I teach you how to go through different layers to contact them, but you may have 5 or 6 strong banks that are in your area. So look at the pending properties on the MLS. Check bank-owned foreclosures as a status, and you can check and see who's servicing those assets. But they're going to really want, and part of, Chris, I'll be honest with you, that we teach is everything that builds up to being that REO agent, because you're going to have to be able to go to official records. I'm not sure I thought BPOs were not permitted in Pennsylvania. They could be property inspections in your area. I haven't heard of them not being permitted, but I know every bank needs BPOs, and many of them will need them on short sales. So they may have to do an appraiser. However, many of them are hiring agents for inspections, where you just go and see if it's occupied or not. So it's a good additional stream of revenue. But what I would tell you is they've got to learn the fundamentals. Representing a bank or an entity as a listing agent is a lot different than doing it as a buyer's agent. So you have to be able to follow instructions. You have to be able to create strong offers. You have to know how to analyze property repairs. So if you want to get a head start on that, start building your team. I do teach you how to do that, but if you've got a contractor you work with, a great relationship, have them go to a really distressed property and walk through the property with you and help you evaluate the repair side. REO, you have to put out money financially. We've got to pay for utilities. We have to pay for repairs. So it definitely is a process to build up to that could create tons and tons of listings. I personally believe the opportunity right now is in the smaller entities. Many of my asset managers got realigned to forbearance and loss mitigation departments. So what that means is the ones that were doing asset management are now loss mitigators, because all of these forbearance agreements, they're the ones that are dealing with if someone calls in and says, hey, what are my options? And they say, well, call my preferred agent. We have 7 of them that we're getting ready to list because of that. So building those relationships on the loss mitigation side is going to help you get into the REO side of things. But learning to think differently is really what REO agents do. I can walk through a house and know that there's a stress crack. I can know what the repairs are going to cost and how to evaluate them. But Chris, I would also recommend cash buyers. We do teach you how to locate them if you don't have them, but really getting some strong investor relationships, because they are a great connection to help you start looking at REO. I'd also pull all the aged inventory on your MLS, the stuff that hasn't sold, and get one of your local investors and say, listen, now's the time to put offers out on these properties. Tell me what you would pay and how and why, and throw out 10, 15 offers on the properties. Learn the bank's systems, because if you don't know HUD Homestar and what their criteria is, and you're not registered, or Auction.com or Equator or Pyramid, again, a lot of info, but I teach you all of this. You just have to start building your profile and your resume.
Thanks, Christina.
Okay. Any questions, guys, about anything on distressed real estate, or in general, what Instacart I use? Anything you want, I'm an open book.
Christina, thank you so much. It's been amazing having you on board today. Can you share, like, when you get a lead, whether it's an REO or, like you said, you just got one the other day, what's usually the time cycle? Are you looking at 9 months? Are you looking at a year? What's like an average timeline for a property from getting a call for a lead to you actually having a settlement and getting paid?
Okay, so an REO is very different than a notice of default. So yesterday I got assigned a bank-owned foreclosure. I go to the system, I hit accept. My property inspector is probably there now checking to see if someone lives there or not. We change the locks, we clean up the property. If it's vacant, 60, 90 days. Now, if it's a notice of default, or it's a forbearance and someone calls you, or you're prospecting, maybe you use a system like RedX and you're reaching out to the pre-foreclosures, or you're sending the letters. It depends on their urgency, like any seller. Do I want to wait it out? Is my forbearance agreement up in a few months and I'll list right before it? So it depends on their urgency and what their situation is. Now, that list of 190 plus I showed you, that's your biggest get paid now. Those are the people that are getting ready to lose their home in the next 30, 60 days. Many times they can call, especially because of the pandemic, and get a extension, but that's money now. I always say, if you want money now, you go to the auction calendar and you reach out to the people that are in the homes and offer them solutions. It could be a short sale. It could be you're going to buy it. Could be, creating wealth for your investors, but that's the quickest money you're going to get right now. I hope that answered your question. Any other questions, guys? I would love to help and add value. I'm glad you guys have me here. Yes, Monica?
Hi, I wanted to know more so about the emotional aspect when you go and visit these homeowners who are in default, about to be in default. Obviously, foreclosure debt collection is inevitable post-pandemic, but how do you have those conversations? I imagine you have to have some sensitivity with the emotional stress, the process of losing one's home, having to resell it, and just really, how do you approach that conversation? Mostly just I'm thinking about how COVID-19 has disproportionately impacted our communities of color across the country. I don't know the statistics of who's losing their home versus not in terms of race and background, but just wanted to know how you handled that with the emotional aspect.
Absolutely. And that's part of why I think I've always been in this side of the business. But one thing, we'll give you scripts, but scripts are scripts. But I want you to look at it almost as you look at an expired listing. The emotional, some expireds, they're angry at their prior agent. They aren't in a hurry. Their emotions are like that as well. Now the pandemic brings a whole other layer. And in all honesty, even expireds feel the same way in many ways as the short sales, because you know what, they could just be dealing with a death. We have people currently that the tenants have COVID, they won't let you in the property. There's so many different levels, but what I want to tell you first and foremost is just be genuine. Listen to them. And I can get a short sale seller over the phone to sign a listing agreement, and that conversation just looks like, listen, I understand exactly what you're going through. It's going to cost you no money out of pocket, and I can potentially get you several $1,000s to relocate from the property. I'm going to go ahead and email you the listing packet, and then I'm going to come and take photos of the property. How does that sound? Most of them, if they're ready, they're good. However, like, you just have to be genuine. You have to listen to them. All facets of sellers, from divorce to probate to notice of default to prior to eviction, they're all going through something. So I always meet them where they're at. You listen to them, you be genuine. And if you don't have that personality, make sure you have someone there that can nurture. And if they're having a hard time, to be able to talk to them about that. So I don't believe there's any statistics published currently. A lot of it's going to be, we're going to see more in the next month or two. However, when you're dealing with a distressed property, whether it's a short sale or not, whether it's a bank owned or not, eviction, many circumstances, they don't have the money to move. I have got U-Haul trucks before. I am part of Metropolitan Ministries, which is in our area. I'd recommend local charities in your area. They're all over the country that are helping with electric, food for working families. That's a great connection, because you know what? I had a situation on an REO, someone committed suicide inside the home, and they did not call and ask what their options were. And there's options available. They would have got about 10,000 to move. So if you learn what those options are in your area, that transitional funding, if they can't get cash for keys, you're gonna have a lot of people in eviction that are going through a situation right now as well, and work with those companies that are helping with security and electric. That's also going to be a great way to get your foot in the door with banks. Most banks that I work with, they all want to know what charity and what you're involved to help this side of the business. So I hope that helped. I get mushy with all of that. I cry a lot sometimes too, but just be genuine. That's a big thing. Any other questions, guys? I got time for one more, and then I have my team at 10 o'clock. Anything else? Chris, I appreciate you having me.
Thanks, Christina. I can't thank you enough. Actually, I was just typing in the chat room that I have actually a leadership meeting as well at 10. But this was so valuable. I mean, you're amazing. I appreciate it. I'm definitely signing up. I already put myself on your Calendly calendar, and looking forward to learning more.
Awesome. And I am doing, if you guys go to my Facebook, there's and on the MAPS coaching page too, there's short sale videos I've done as well, because we didn't discuss that side of things. So again, that's a big part of what we're going to learn together. And I'm happy to come back in the future if you need anything, Chris. So guys, I hope you guys all join us. Reach out to James, and I hope you guys have a great day and stay safe. Okay.
Thanks, Christina. You too.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.